This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Friday on the After Party Live. It is a long-awaited day. Tim Sika will join us at the movies with Tim Sika on the way in. Also have a little story about Christmas movies that I'd like to get to. I have some great messages from folks that sent me pictures of the full moon last night, the cold moon. And I got a great email from Ms. Organic who sent me pictures of something she did on her bucket list, which is help rescue baby turtles as they're crawling to the sea and help them on their journey. You're going to love the pictures of these turtles. And I'm so grateful. So thank you very much for all the great messages. And we'll get to all of that. But before we do anything else, it is 1:30. And that means it is time for At the Movies with Tim Sika. Well, hello, Tim Sika.
Hello, Kim McAllister. How are you? How are you?
Good.
It's been a little bit, right? A little while.
I know.
I know.
With the Thanksgiving holiday, so it's good to have you back on the show.
Well, it's good to be back. Yeah.
I saw this story that I wasn't going to do it with you, but now I feel like I must.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it.
Here it is. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? This is an ongoing question.
Yeah,
right?
I know, right? Yeah.
And I saw this story in Sky News in the UK, and they did this huge poll. The headline of the story is Die Hard a Christmas film? The public have spoken, and you might not like the result.
I bet you I can I guess what?
Yeah. Guess. What do you think?
I'm thinking people are thinking this is a Christmas movie.
I think it's a Christmas movie, but
yeah, no.
They say Die Hard is not a Christmas film, according to 44% of those who responded to this new poll by the British Board of Film Classification. They narrowly outnumbered the 38% who argued this movie is festive, another 5% saying it's their favorite Christmas movie of them all.
Yeah, well, see, go figure. People's taste, you can never predict it. Yeah, I mean, it depends, I guess, what you think of as a Christmas movie. I don't think it makes you feel the warm and fuzzies like, say like a movie like It's a Wonderful Life does, or it's sort of like, is Eyes Wide Shut a Christmas movie because it takes place during Christmas, but it's really a sex mystery. I mean, that's really what it is. And this is really an action thriller.
Yeah, it's a shoot 'em up action thriller.
Yeah,
but
right.
There's snow, and he's going home for Christmas. So
I
don't know.
It's kind of a stretch, but
it's a stretch. But it's a good stretch. And my husband and I watch it every Christmas Eve. So there's that.
Yeah, and it's also a terrific movie too. So you can watch it anytime, right? Any time of the year.
There is a movie that I just watched, I want you to know. And it's not the best movie in the world because, it's kind of a Hallmark-esque kind of a movie. It's on Netflix. So I clicked on it because I like the title of the movie is Champagne Promise. Promises that you're making when you drink champagne.
Right. Yeah. Was it a rom-com?
It is a rom-com, but the beautiful part about this is that it takes place in Paris. And not only is the scenery gorgeous in Paris, but it ends up at this in Epernay in France on Champagne Row at this castle. And I looked up the castle, and it turns out you can go champagne tasting at this castle. And now it's on my bucket list. So we see it on Netflix, not even for the movie, but fast forward to the castle part because holy wow, it's great.
Did they actually shoot it in Paris, or was it shot in Paris?
Yes, they did. Yeah, they shot it in Paris and in Epernay. So cool. Yeah,
the most romantic city in the world, they say, is Paris. I've never been. Have you ever been to France or Paris?
I have, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
would you agree with that assessment that it's the most romantic city in the world?
I don't know about romantic, but it's parts of it are beautiful, parts of it look, dirty and rough, and you have to watch the crime and the pickpockets and
Oh,
whatever
okay.
else. But
Yeah, yeah.
when I was on a boat with my sister and my best friend, and we went on this cruise down the river in front of the Eiffel Tower, and on the hour, it starts twinkling, and it's the most beautiful thing, and the buildings are
Ooh,
beautiful, and
yeah.
you're going underneath these old bridges, over the river. It's pretty spectacular. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that would be kind of cool if you were there with your significant other,
Yeah,
experiencing what you just described in detail. That would feel very romantic.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have for us today, my friend?
Well, I've got some interesting, I would say overall it's a good week for movies in terms
Okay.
of like what is being released today and what just dropped on Netflix, which is our first movie called J. Kelly. Uh, this is a movie for the ARP crowd,
Oh,
okay, who are interested, and I mean that as a compliment. I think the
is
ARP
that
crowd.
I think that's us, right?
Yeah,
Are
I
we
think
ARP
that. Well,
now? Yeah.
yes, kind of, sort of, yeah. But the ARP crowd who are interested in the private lives of famous actors. So that's kind of my estimation of this movie in a nutshell. But it's written and directed by indie filmmaker Noah Baumbach, and this seems to me to be his attempt to break into the mainstream. Although he did co-write Barbie, but that was more his wife Greta Gerwig's baby than his. Anyway, Jay Kelly. It's about a famous actor played by George Clooney, and how great casting is that, to cast George Clooney as a famous actor, because he's one of the most famous actors in the world, and he is his typically winning best as the titular protagonist, Jay Kelly, and it's about him and his entourage, headed by Adam Sandler, who plays his manager, and Laura Dern, who plays his publicist, and the actor Billy Crudup also plays an old friend of Jay Kelly's with an agenda, which I won't divulge here because it's an interesting plot twist. Anyway, the bulk of the plot involves the actor, Jay Kelly, following one of his daughters through Europe with her friends. I don't know if he wants to keep an eye on her or what. He's in this place in his mind where he's trying to decide whether he should accept this Life Achievement Award at some festival. And he's also simultaneously, but kind of somewhat lamely, trying to reconcile with his other daughter, who has understandably abandonment issues with her famous actor dad. He was never there for her, really, because he was always off,
Off on set, right?
yeah, off on set in some foreign land, wherever. Now, this is not the best movie, Kim, really. It relies on lots of stylistic cliches. You see where it's going from the get-go. It was smug in its depiction of an insider's view of Hollywood, and presumptuous, I think, in its thinking that you're going to find this is particularly fascinating. but it was what I kind of like to call an easy movie, meaning it was very easy to watch. The look of the film was very easy on the eyes. Clooney, of course, is always star quality watchable. I mean, he's always wonderful. And there was a scooch of something, kicking around in the script about the fleetingness of fame, the superficiality of fame, forgiveness. The movie begins with one of my favorite quotes from Sylvia Plath, the poet, about how difficult it is being yourself. And I'm paraphrasing her, but she goes on to say that it's much easier to be somebody else or nobody at all, which kind of is what the actor does in a way, right? So it was a thoughtful framing of the drama that was going to follow. Yeah. So what am I saying? I recommend it, not because it does its job particularly well as it might have done, but because it was just eminently watchable. And I suppose that says something notable about it. And again, circling back to what I started out saying, it's the perfect movie for the ARP crowd because it also traffics in, such subjects as memory and reflecting upon a life lived, regrets maybe, and maybe missed opportunities. So yeah, I kind of sort of convinced myself that maybe it is a better movie than I thought it was after all, but it's very watchable. So I have to recommend it.
I just like George Clooney, so
he's so good. He's just so great. Yeah. And he seems, I mean, as genuine, as an actor can be. He really seems like the real deal. I mean, he's obviously playing off his persona, like the way, Cary Grant did and Humphrey Bogart and those people, but he's just likable, You can't help but like this guy, and he's really beautifully cast in this movie. Yeah.
The next movie you have, I looked it up and I remember watching this with my son. There's this TV series called The Librarians, and it's
Oh,
about
really?
fantastical things that happen in this library that's moving through time and space. This is not that. This is a more serious look. The Librarians.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Wow. This one, it's a documentary about how librarians in places like Texas and Florida are being fired and getting
Yeah.
death threats because of their refusal to remove so-called controversial books from their county public and school libraries. It really got under my skin. It stuck in my craw and it triggered practically all of my rage buttons. I mean, this movie pissed me off. I mean,
Wow.
it's a great movie. It's a terrific movie, but I'll try to explain what, when I say controversial books, I'm talking about like anything that might have to do with LGBTQ issues or gender issues, stories about sex education issues, history as an Holocaust history, or
Mhm.
race issues, or books dealing with racism. Anyway, this movie covers basically two subjects. It's basically about this group of librarians in Texas, Florida, and some other southern states banding together, like I say, despite being threatened, vilified, and having lost their jobs, banding together to combat book burning from religious extremist groups like Moms for Liberty. Remember that name, Moms for
Yeah.
Liberty, which is the other topic this movie covers, this group and its extremist movement. Basically, this, to me, this group exists basically to fuel fascism. But and I mean, the ignorance, the fear, and superstition of this group of women, this Moms for Liberty, is something that not only this movie delves into in detail, but also something I think every American citizen should be aware of. And what this group of women, under the pretext of protecting our children, exactly and specifically are doing, with the help and the aiding and abetting, of course, of some feckless Republican politicians who are exploiting their fears and their ignorance for political purposes. And the narrative umbrella under which the movie unfolds is the 2021 targeting of, you probably remember this, of 850 books, titles like, The Color Purple and The Handmaid's Tale
Yeah.
by Texas lawmaker Matt Krause. Remember that scumbag, which
Mhm.
I'm sure you know about, but details of which people can access online. I don't really want to go into that. But bottom line was that this movie enraged me. It infuriated me. It's a must. It's a
Oh,
must
and
see.
you don't want to piss off Tim Sika. That's
No,
dangerous.
whatever. I don't know, but I mean, it's a must see, of course, though, for its content alone, but because it also happens to be excellent, skillful,
Yeah.
masterful documentary filmmaking. But I think watching this movie should make anybody interested in the preservation of the First Amendment of the Constitution and of our democracy collectively rise up in outrage and move to some kind of action. Movies like this remind me of how grateful I am and how grateful I think we all should be as a culture for activist filmmakers like Kim A. Snyder, who helmed this outstanding movie and who, through their art, are getting the word out as to how our democracy is being undermined by a group of fearful mothers and feckless, spineless politicians. Anyway, it's now playing in select Bay Area theaters. I think it opens today at the Roxy, and then it's going to expand every subsequent week. But it's going to be showing in theaters long enough for people to check it out if it's something they may be interested in. And I think I think everybody should be interested in watching this movie. It's that vital and it's that timely, and it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's just terrific. Yep.
You have inspired some comments, and I will tell you that you mentioned The Color Purple being banned, and I was delighted when my daughter's English teacher in high school last year assigned it to the class to read. So I'm
Oh,
like,
good
this is
on her. Good on. I
fantastic,
want to meet
right?
this lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Tammy in Florida says Moms for Liberty are scandalous, pervy. Ms.
Yeah.
Organic says the dumbing down of society, the struggle is real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Teacher Lori says Moms for Liberty is a horrific, heinous
Mm,
group. If not familiar with them, definitely watch this movie.
yeah.
And Phineas says, Tim Sika, too late. They've already dumbed people down. So,
Yeah. Well, they've convinced some people, but they haven't convinced everybody yet. No. No, I think the majority of people. I think the majority of people are. when they pay attention, they, they have enough common sense to say, hey, wait a minute. I mean, they can, initially they might be like caught up in the fervor and the emotional BS. But I think, I don't know. I'm an optimist. I think we're going to get through this. I don't know what we're going to have to endure in the meanwhile. I think groups like Moms for Liberty, for one, but I don't know. I tend to be a little more optimistic, but yeah, I mean, the point's well taken for sure. Yeah, a lot of I have friends who think that, like, we're not going to be able to vote again in 5 to 10 years. I don't know if I want to subscribe to that, but yeah, this like I said, this movie, it triggered every one of my rage buttons and reminded me of like all this stuff that we're living through now with the current, government, the U.S. government, and names that shall not be mentioned. Yeah. So, but it's so good. It's just a really good movie.
I think it's really important to have movies, pieces like this at the forefront.
Yeah.
Because even though we know it's going on, we kind of, for our own mental health, tuck it aside and kind of push forward with things and forget how outrageous things are. And so to have this movie, to point it out, to see it, to remember how crazy things are, I think that's really important,
Well said. I agree completely. Absolutely.
Let's move to Fackham Hall.
Fackham Hall. I loved Fackham Hall, which is a British comedy send-up of movies and properties like Downton Abbey and maybe Bridgerton, the Netflix series. It's silly, alternately stupid, dumb, laugh out loud, crazy comedy that reminded me, I don't know if, Kim, have you ever seen the movie Airplane? Which was it was a satire parody send up of all those airport movies of the 70s. This movie has that kind of silly humor directed in a similar style, which is to say, like, the eye-rolling bits and jokes and comic setups are quickly dispensed with, and then immediately they're on to the next silly, stupid eye-rolling bit before the silliness actually hits you, because you're going, oh my God, that's such an awfully stupid joke. But before you even form that in your mind, they're already on to the next one. And yeah, it reminded me of Airplane, only this had like the added layer of the King's English and the flavor of shows like the BBC Masterpiece Theater TV series. Anyway, the plot is only consequential in that it serves as the basis on which all this hilarity hangs, but it's sort of like Upstairs Downstairs or Gosford Park on crack cocaine. It's essentially about the British 1%, the aristocratic Davenports. It's this family who live at Fackham Hall, and if you play with that word, you also get another thing. Anyway, they still live in luxury. Exactly. Exactly. And this family lives in splendor. That, like, despite the fact that the movie takes place in 1931 in London, when they're still suffering the effects of the Depression. And there's an orphan pickpocket who finagles his way into the servant space of their mansion, blah, blah. He falls in love with the Davenport daughter, and there's a murder that occurs, and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, now, as with all comedies, if this kind of humor is not your thing, and of course you just don't find it funny, you may wish you had bought a ticket to a different movie. But I found this movie hilarious from beginning to end. It pokes fun at the British aristocracy, Agatha Christie novels, Charles Dickens novels. Hayley Mills, who as a young actor was famous for Pollyanna, the Disney movie Pollyanna. She narrates as the voice of Rose Davenport, which was reminiscent of Julie Andrews's Bridgerton voiceover bit as Lady Whistledown. So they're obviously poking fun at Bridgerton too. But yeah, this is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, and it's now in theaters. I think it's the best comedy of the year. I wish Bleecker Street, the distributor, had positioned it for awards, because I think it could have easily won several. It's certainly the standout comedy that I've seen all year, and coming as it has come, with all of us critics, cramming all these movies, and for it to stand out the way it has, says a lot about the film. It's just so funny. It's laugh out loud. I mean, I never stopped laughing. I just thought it was. I think it's a comedy classic, and it's playing in theaters, and I highly recommend it.
Already a comedy classic, huh? Okay.
Yeah. Oh God, yes. Yeah, I want to own this movie, like on a hard disc, on a physical disc, so I could just play it anytime I'm feeling low. Yeah.
Would you compare this style of humor to Monty Python?
Yeah, actually, I'm convinced, although I don't know and I didn't do any research on this, but I'm convinced that the writer was influenced to a great degree by Monty Python. Although the humor is a little more on the nose and specific. Monty Python was funny, yeah, because they were just weird and I don't know, like indirect. I don't know what words to use, but yeah. Oh, I'm sure it was Monty Python influence. Absolutely, you get that within the first 10 minutes. Yeah,
fack 'em all. All right.
Yeah, fack 'em all. And yeah, think Moms for Liberty. Fack 'em all. Anyway,
moving on to Merrily We Roll Along, and I have to tell you.
Yeah.
And it sucks because he's a great actor and he needs to go on and do different things, but I cannot look at Daniel Radcliffe's face and not see Harry Potter. I just can't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know, but he's also a very accomplished stage actor. He's very accomplished at musical comedy. He appeared in a revival of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. He's a very good dancer. He's a very good singer. And anyway, he's in this Merrily We Roll Along. This show, this Stephen Sondheim show, which was a notorious flop back in 1981, now seems eternal due to this movie. And also, with another movie version coming to us in like 15 years from Richard Linklater, who's filming this property literally over 20 years. The release date is going to be 2040, in the same way he filmed Boyhood over a 12-year period. So we see all of the story's characters actually aging in real time. There's no like trickery or anything. I don't know if you saw Boyhood, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to reset here. The history of this musical is legend, but this Merrily We Roll Along, after the play's 1981 flop, and then it's reworking in 1994. Well, I think there were like 7 or 8 revamps actually of this property, but everything. Everything after the 1981 flop had a new book, which is Theater Talk for Screenplay, a different one from the original 1981 version. I might get my dates mixed up here. Anyway, okay, stop, Tim. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, I'm just going to talk about this Merrily We Roll Along, which is a filmed. I just love the music from this. It's a filmed, staged production of the 2023 Tony Award-winning musical that starred Daniel Radcliffe, Jonathan Groff, and Lindsay Mendez. This show went through so many versions from the time it had premiered and flopped because it's a difficult piece to adapt. But this is the closest they've come to getting it right, although the musical book is still far from perfect. But anyway, this is that filming of the 2023 Broadway hit. It was directed by Maria Friedman, who also directed it on stage. And this is like an odd movie for those unfamiliar, I think, with the Sondheim musical, the story or the songs, the score, which is pure genius, by the way. But this is one of the best reasons for this movie to exist, in that it preserves for posterity what is arguably the best version of Merrily We Roll Along, a musical based on the George S. Kaufman Moss Hart 1934 play, and the brilliant Stephen Sondheim score, which is ironically one of his best, considering that the original 1981 play was a flop. But anyway, the story is about a Broadway composer who abandons his friends and his Broadway career to become a Hollywood movie producer, and it's told over the course of 3 decades in reverse chronological order. In other words, it begins at the end and it ends at the beginning, which is a conceit I love. And I suppose what it's really about is the devolution of friendship that's caused by one of the friends' career ambitions and what his other two friends perceived to be as his selling out, compromising his artistic ambitions for, the bottom line, for money. So it's an endlessly discussable show. This filming of the 2023 show is red meat for theater geeks. I love anything Sondheim, so I suppose I would have loved this movie even if it were awful, because I have no objectivity about Stephen Sondheim. And I did have some issues with it. They still haven't gotten the story, the adaptation completely right. It's a hard one to adapt musically. I doubt they ever will. There's too many overt attempts seem to have been made to make this filming of a play seem more like a movie than a play. It's like annoyingly shot in too many close-ups and angled camera shots. The thing about a Broadway show, Kim, is that you can, while it's going on, you can look anywhere on stage that you want to. Here you're being told exactly where to look at any moment, which I guess was unavoidable to a large extent. But they seem to be overcompensating for the effect. Like even though it's very clear that we're filming this live stage play, we have to make it seem like a movie, and that got in the way. Kind of. That's carping. It's me carping. But if you love theater, if you love Stephen Sondheim, you need to see this movie. It's an unmissable event, if nothing else, of the highest order. And, personally, I'd be going against every single one of my own artistic sensibilities and tastes not to recommend this movie. It's now playing in theaters, and yeah.
So is it more like watching I don't know if you watched the Hamilton on Disney Plus, which at my house we watched all the time.
I did.
You're watching a play that's just been filmed, or is it?
Yeah,
more
that's
like
what. Yeah, you are. You're watching. Yes,
adapted from a play.
You're watching a play that's been filmed, but it has more of a film look than a live play look. If that makes any sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, anyway, I kind of overthink these things, but I've always been a fan. I've never seen the show on stage, but I've always been a fan of the score, which I've played a gazillion times. And this is a big event for theater lovers and fans of Stephen Sondheim, because it's now preserved for posterity. What's that?
What's one of the most popular or knowable songs from this?
Old Friends is probably the most popular. The Hey, Old Friends, da, 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 da,
okay.
That's probably the big hit from it. Yeah. So,
I got Tim Sika to sing. Yvonne says, you have a good voice.
You got to cut that part out.
Nope, I'm not doing it.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yvonne says, I might watch this as I never get to see Broadway shows anymore. I've gone 3 times to New York City. Such a blast. She also says she agrees with you. There is nothing like theater. So
it's when it works, it's magical. Yeah, it's really Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. So that will be playing at my house. I can tell you, I have a bunch of musical theater nerdy people.
Oh, yes, you do. Of course. Oh, God. Yes. You have to show it to your daughter. She has to see this. Yes.
And Jacob, my son, is into it too.
I know. Right.
I have it all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is now the moment where we get to Tim Sika's classic movie recommendation of the week. And I will tell you, you said if you've seen Airplane, and I thought, of course I've seen Airplane. Tim, you told me to watch it, so I did. This week's classic movie rec is Heat from 1995. And I have to tell you, 1995 seems recent to me, and maybe that's
I know.
It's 95 is a classic.
Well, it's celebrating its 30th year this year, so
God.
I know, right? I know. I'm in the same boat you are. Anyway, 30 years ago, this movie was released. It's called Heat, and it's a crime thriller. It's directed by Michael Mann, and it's the story of a weird, I don't know if he's self-dramatizing cop, played by Al Pacino in that photo there, who pursues this laconic criminal mastermind played by Robert De Niro around Los Angeles for nearly 3 hours. He's pursuing this guy. And that doesn't sound like very much, but boy, does this movie score on more fronts than that brief synopsis implies. First of all, this is the first movie pairing of Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. If you don't count The Godfather Part 2, and I don't because they never shared a scene together in that movie. That's the first plus for this movie. But the real plus to this movie are the film's visuals and burnished style. The city of LA itself is a major character here, and LA shot largely at night. The night cityscapes are evocative and positively arresting and giving what this movie is about. Well, one of the things it's about is the soullessness of the criminal as well as that of the law enforcer. And this is all dramatized with the nightscapes of LA as a backdrop. And that soullessness is also reflected in the way in which the film is shot. The plot's a bit rambling, at times confusing, but the overall effect of Heat is haunting. It's almost poetic. There's something searing too about this very unusual crime drama that distinguishes it from others of its genre. It's almost dreamy, this movie, and that adjective set alongside crime drama shouldn't fit, but in Heat it does. This is a dreamy crime thriller, very violent. I watched it again recently, and while it's a difficult film sometimes to, in retrospect, remember in detail. Certain sequences, when you watch it again, you suddenly remember everything, and that effect is in itself implies some kind of exceptional artistic achievement, in my opinion. I just love this film. The action sequences, the shootouts are staggeringly staged and executed. It's kind of difficult for me to put into exact words why this movie is so powerful, why it works, and why it lingers in the mind. But I would, maybe bet, maybe not The Farm, but maybe the Outhouse. If anyone listening who's never seen it does in fact check it out, I think they would agree, even if they didn't particularly get it or like it, that it's definitely a one-of-a-kind action crime thriller. I've never seen a crime drama like Heat, and I it's been 30 years. There's never been one like it before or since. So it's a different classic film for me to recommend, but I happened to watch it again. I thought, oh, this is going to be my movie for the week because, and it's now streaming on Paramount Plus. If anybody's got Paramount Plus,
I can convince my husband to watch this with me, and I've not ever seen this movie.
I think you'll like it.
Maybe we can watch it tonight. Thanks.
Yeah,
Tim.
but stay with it. It may get a little weird and you're going, what the, but stay with it because the cumulative effect, it really is, it's haunting. It just lingers. It'll stick with you. Not in a negative way, but it's sort of like in this way, like, wow, what was that I just experienced? Hard to put into words.
People are looking at this picture of De Niro and Pacino. It says, look at him 30 years ago. Teacher Lori says, oh my gosh, looking at this picture makes me feel old.
Well, it's interesting. They were both in their 50s when they made this movie. Now they're in their 80s.
Yes.
Yeah. So they look pretty good then.
Noah Fidian says, I saw Heat and I have the book Heat 2. Wonderful stuff.
I think there's been a sequel. They've been talking about a sequel since 2022. Okay. That's the last I heard of it. It could. I'm sure it would make a good sequel. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Is this the movie where it's I'm talking to you?
No, that's Taxi Driver.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, because Phineas is confusing me.
Yeah, that's Taxi
American
Driver.
Actors at their finest, says Yvonne. Yeah. Teacher Lori says it's an intense movie.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I think that's great. Okay, we'll do the review. Oh, before we do the review, I had some comments to share with you.
Oh, yes.
So Noah Fidian wants to know if George Clooney has ever played a bad guy. He must have.
I think in Out of Sight, he was like a morally ambiguous, a really bad guy. I don't know. I mean,
that movie about airplane executives that fire people or something.
Oh, Up in the Air, it was called.
I mean, I don't know if he was the bad guy in that or not.
You know what? That's a good question. In my mind, I would say no, but he might have somewhere, and he might do well, like playing some really like low down,
Mhm.
awful person because he's so likable. But anyway, and I don't know. Good question. I'll look and
Research
see.
that.
Yeah, I'll research that.
Future Lori says, love the fantasy series Librarians. Yeah, if you're looking for something interesting to watch with the kids, it is.
Is that on Netflix, Kim?
And
That
I
show?
think it is on Netflix, and there's a
Yeah.
couple different versions of it. So
Okay.
they made it into a couple of movies and a TV series. So there's a
Oh,
lot
okay.
about that.
All
Teacher
right.
Lori also says, can't wait for this to stream. It has to be better than that Downton Abbey movie talking about Fackham Hall. Yeah. Oh,
Well, yeah. Well, there were 3 Downton Abbey movies. I liked the first one. Second
I
one,
know.
the third one, I kind of dissed on
I
your show,
haven't
if I
seen.
recall.
You
Yeah,
did. I didn't watch it because of that.
yeah.
Wes is cold, very chilly. Wes. He says Rudolph is on TV tonight. I'm 56 years old and I have watched it every year since I was like 7.
That's one of the best
Yes.
Christmas specials ever
Mhm.
made. It just endures and it endures. It's so good. Hermie the elf that wants to be a dentist, and
Love
the
that.
abominable snowman. Oh, I love that too. And Burl Ives is the narrator and the snowman who sings.
You know what's
Yeah.
weird about this, and this is just kind of a collective society comment, is
Yeah.
when I was little and Wes was little, we were watching Rudolph every year, and so was everybody else. Wes and I, and you probably, and
Yeah.
everyone else in
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
We were all collected around the TV at the same time on the
I
same night.
know.
And
I
the next
know.
day, everyone was talking about it at school. And tomorrow night, it's going to be, silver and gold or whatever it is. Tomorrow night, it's going to be
Right.
Santa Claus. And we all were talking about it and knew about it. But
Yeah.
now
I know.
I bought like a DVD of all of those classic movies. So I have
Me
them
too.
all on disc.
Yeah, me
So
too.
that I could show them to my children because things are so different now. So when they're watching them, probably nobody else is, right?
Nobody
It's a
else.
whole different
No,
experience.
what? That was one of the neat things about when there were only 3 networks: ABC,
Yeah.
NBC, and CBS, because movies, they would advertise like in a week they're going to show this or that, and you're right.
Yeah.
It was a time for people to get collectively together, and
Right.
people were watching the same thing in real time, all at the same time together. And then you're right, we would talk about it after, and it was just a neat thing that we've lost because of all the options and all the channels. There's like hundreds and hundreds of channels.
Yeah.
I know, I kind of miss that, but yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right. I'll do the recap. The
All
first
right.
movie you had was Jay Kelly, and you said George Clooney is great in this movie. It's not the best movie. It relies on cliches and is a little presumptuous, but you said it's a really easy movie to watch.
Yeah. Yes.
And you recommend it because it is so watchable. You
Mhm.
say it is the perfect movie for the ARP crowd. And as we talk about watching the old classic Christmas movies when we were little, I think we can say, and we talk about
Yeah, we belong to that group.
30 years
Yeah.
ago, how Pacino and De Niro make us feel old now. Yeah,
Oh,
I think we
God.
can say that.
Yeah.
The Librarians, you say, librarians are under threat, and this is a great movie, but it will make you mad. You do recommend The Librarians. It has an important and timely message here. Fackham Hall, you said this is one of the classic comedy movies of all time already, and we haven't even seen it yet. You said it's silly and dumb and laugh out loud comedy, and it moves so fast, you said, that before you can laugh, they're on to the next thing. It has to be your kind of humor, though. You found it hilarious from start to finish. You said it's one of the funniest movies you have ever seen. Fackham Hall. Also, Merrily We Roll Along. You said it has wonderful music. It is a film version of a musical. You loved it, though you said maybe too many close-ups and they were trying too hard to make it movie-like. You said if you love theater and you love Stephen Sondheim, this is an unmissable event and it's a must-see. It's called Merrily We Roll Along. And as for your classic movie wreck of the Heat, that would be Heat. And it's from 1995. You called it dreamy in a way, and action sequences that are so well staged that this movie lingers in the mind. You called it a one-of-a-kind action thriller, and it is streaming on Paramount Plus. It is violent, but you said this movie sticks with you. The classic movie wreck is Heat, and there you have it.
There you go. You've done it again, Kim McAllister.
You've done it again, Tim Sika.
Well,
Thanks for preparing all of that for us. You've given us some great options this week.
okay, great. Well, we're going to have lots of more options with all these holiday movies coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I hope people will keep on tuning in to your show.
Looking forward to that.
All right,
At the
Kim.
Movies with Tim Sika. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Kim. Have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye, Tim.
Okay, bye.
At the Movies with Tim Sika. Gotta love it. Let's go to the chat. Taking a look at what you guys are saying. Didn't George Clooney play a hitman? He might have. I don't know. Well, we put Tim Sika on that task. Sal the Shoemaker says from dusk till dawn. I don't know. The American with George Clooney. Is that where he plays the hitman? I don't know. Well, we'll find out. Clooney has played a D-head a few times, says Teacher Lori. Yeah, all right. When is a Charlie Brown Christmas on? You have to stream it. I think you just click on it. It's on whenever you want. That's the new way of the world. Yeah. Nola Fidian says, I used to listen to Burl Ives Christmas music. Who didn't, right? Completely. I'll be watching Rudolph with my kids tonight, says Mama de los Goblins. Excellent. Ranting Teacher Lori says the Librarians have moved streaming platforms a couple of times. Might be on Prime now. Watch the one with Noah Wyle. All right, we'll send that information to Tim if he wants to check it out. Yeah, there's some great comments. Thank you guys for being involved and for all of the comments. Love when Tim Sika comes on the show. Yvonne says Tim is the best, and I would agree with that. Susan says thank you to Tim. Tammy says thank you to Tim. And Apple TV, according to Yvonne, has Charlie Brown. So if that's your Christmas jam, then that's where you will be able to find it. All right. I want to show you a couple pictures I got sent from the cold moon last night. Here is a picture that Yvonne sent to me. Look at this. She sends this message and she says, here's a couple of full moon pictures. One is I was leaving a place to go home, listening to you and Nikki. The other is when I was looking out from a sliding glass door and got some interesting options. So this is Yvonne, and here's her second shot of the full moon last night. Thank you for sending those. Those are some cool pictures. Tammy also sent pictures of the full moon. She sent me 4 or 5 of them. Look at that, peeking out right through the trees. And Tammy says it was a little misty and the moon made for an interesting glow. This is from Tammy in Florida. So this is how the cold moon looked last night. Here's another shot of that. Ooh, that's a good one with it peeking right through the trees with the orange glow. That's kind of creepy, huh? Great pictures. Thank you so much for sending. I have another email I wanted to share, and this one came from Ms. Organic. And I'll read you the note, and then, well, let me put up one of the pictures because I have to, they're so cute. I'll put up a picture first, and then I'll read you what she wrote. This is probably one of my favorite. No, this might be my favorite one she sent. Look at that little turtle. This is the cutest thing in the world. She says, good morning, Kim. I've just returned from Cabo San Lucas beach vacation with 4 of my best girlfriends. We have been soul sisters for 30 years. The most amazing experience of the trip was something I've wanted to do since I was 8 years old. We helped release baby loggerhead sea turtles into the ocean on 2 of the nights that we spent in Cabo. It was so precious and beautiful to take part in this lifetime wish. The first night, we released 38 babies, and the second night we released 18 babies. The volunteers watched the beach for mamas hauling out for months, and then they dig up the egg deposits and relocate to protected pens that are dated for incubation time. Then they go and gently dig in the sand to find the babies that have hatched and bring them to the ocean for release so they don't self-strand and die heading towards city lights inland from the shore rather than the twinkling stars and the moonlight on the ocean that they have evolved to follow. Please enjoy the pictures and share on the after party if you want. Just too cute for words. Signed, Ms. Organic. Wow. This is right up my alley. And I would absolutely love to do this, but I'm going to live vicariously through you. So here are some of the pictures that she sent. I think that one might be the one that takes my breath away with that sweet little baby turtle. But here's the first one she sent. Another little close up of a turtle. And then look at them all. To say you helped save the baby turtles and guide them to the sea, what an experience. Look at those little guys. There's some more of them. You can see them down below as well. And here they are, almost to the water, some of those little turtles. That is so cool, Ms. Organic. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you for sending those pictures. That's my favorite one because you can see the cool, you know, pattern on the back of this little baby loggerhead turtle. Amazing. Now you've made me want to go to Cabo and do this. I want to stay there for a long time and release the turtles every night. But I have another story about a turtle, and this is an endangered turtle. It's Ruby. Ruby is a let's see, I'll find my Ruby story. I think I put it under animals. Yes, Ruby the turtle needs a new greenhouse, and now there are dance companies that are stepping up to help raise money to help conservation efforts for this turtle. It is a Burmese roofed turtle named Ruby, and this is a critically endangered turtle. She lives in a top secret turtle sanctuary in New Jersey. These are among the most rare turtle species on Earth. They almost went extinct in the early 2000s. 5 females and 3 males were found and placed together to form the first captive assurance colony for this species. These colonies keep animals at risk of extinction in zoos, aquariums, or semi-wild conditions so that hopefully they can breed. Ruby is one of the reptiles that the Turtle Conservancy is working to keep alive, but it is expensive. And so Ruby becomes the centerpiece of the Ruby Initiative. This is a photo exhibition presented by in the lobby of the New York Live Arts ahead of this show called Dancing for Our Wonderful World. This nonprofit organization called Wildwerk is dedicated to raising funds and environmental awareness through dance. So this dance company features 8 newly choreographed dance pieces that fuse the arts with a call to environmental action. They are raising money to help keep Ruby and her species alive, which is really, really cool. The Turtle Conservancy is using the arts to help raise $250,000 to build a new greenhouse for Ruby and the other turtles living at the New Jersey Sanctuary. She lives alongside a couple of other of the species, the endangered Burmese narrow-headed soft-shell turtle that are from the Amazon. Many of the turtles at that sanctuary were rescued from the illegal wildlife trade. Ruby came from a veterinarian and a taxonomist who had passed away and left her in the care of that conservancy. So if they get a bigger space that allows these turtles a little more room, maybe some more space to breed, because right now it's a little cramped in there. So far, they've raised $65,000 of the $250,000 needed. They already have the structure of the greenhouse built, and so now they need to build this sophisticated pumping system that will ensure the temperature is just right for Ruby and her friends to survive. Love that picture of Ruby. Oh, beautiful. I wanted to give you some information about Claude. You know, Claude, the 30-year-old albino turtle at the San Francisco, what is it, Conservatory of the Arts? What can I not remember what it's called now? California Academy of Sciences. That's where Claude lived. And Claude passed away recently, and they thought they might know why, but weren't exactly sure. So Claude's body was taken, and Claude is famous. So many pictures. He's kind of in the very beginning on the first floor as you go to the California Academy of Sciences. Beautiful representation an ambassador for his species. Claude's body was taken to UC Davis Med Center, or Veterinary Medical Center, where they looked at for the cause of death, and they have found that Claude died from extensive liver cancer. There was also evidence of a systemic infection, that according to a press release from the Academy of Sciences. They thought that they knew kind of a little bit that he may have had this, and it moved really quickly, but they said it's difficult to diagnose health issues in these apex predators because they have a tendency to hide their illnesses. And his behavior was normal until just a few weeks before he died. So they'd been monitoring his status in recent weeks. He had declining appetite. He'd been moved from his swamp for treatment. They thought it was an infection. And even though the veterinarians from the Steinhardt Aquarium were giving him care, again, he didn't make it. And so now they have this information to share that, yeah, he'd had liver cancer, and that is why he passed away. So wanted to update that story for you guys. I have this is a weird one, and one of you, I don't know which one of you, tagged me on the internet. And I thought, what is this? Because there wasn't really much of a description on this story. And then I saw the story. I'm going to warn you, this is just weird. You have to see it, but also it's weird. Very weird. It's this art exhibition at this fair. I think I have it. No, I don't have it. Oh man, what's on your mind, Kim? Let me look for that for just a moment. It's this art exhibition that involves robot dogs that are, their head is replaced with the head of tech billionaires. And they poop out AI created art cards. I know, the whole thing is weird. Robot dogs art cards. I have to look it up because for some reason I had it ready to show you and now it's gone. But since we're in the story, okay, here it is. Yeah. I'm telling you. You look at it and go, who would have thought of that? Like, why and why? Was this somebody's nightmare? I don't know. All right, here's what it looks like. Oops. I don't know if I can.
Hey, people. This is Regular Animals, a new series of work that we have at Art Basel here. They are robot dogs that poop out prints. The pictures that they're taking, they sort of like reinterpret how they see the world. So it has artists and it also has Elon and sort of like Zuckerberg. And increasingly, these sort of like technologists and people who control these algorithms are deciding what we see, how we see the world. And then I'm in there and sort of like, I just throw myself in there. Fuck it.
One of my tiny humans said something insane recently, and I simply had to share it.
Yeah. So there it is. So bizarre. It's a very strange art installation. These robot dogs, again, pooping out this AI generated art. Kind of disturbing, I would say, to look at. They leave you with something that is a little bit creepy. The Art Basel Miami is one of the world's biggest art fairs, and the event space this time around is crowded with these very strange looking creatures. And I think I have I know, because we needed this, right? I think I have a close-up picture of one of these very strange looking art dogs. I thought I did anyway. Yeah. One of these robot dogs. Do I have a picture? Here's the one. Yeah, here's the one that looks like Mark Zuckerberg. This is super creepy. Isn't it? Yeah, I think it's very creepy. So this again comes from this art fair. They have these 6 flesh-toned robotic dogs with the photorealistic heads of Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Andy Warhol, Pablo Picasso, and the installation's creator, which is digital artist Beeple, who you saw speaking into the microphone. Every few minutes, these dogs will stop, lean back on their hind legs, and shoot from their rear end a Polaroid-like print. A small LED screen on each dog's back flashes poop mode while the performance happens. His artist said, "What if the act of looking at art were no longer a one-way encounter, but part of a feedback loop in which the artwork observes, learns, and remembers us in return?" Each of the human dog hybrids has cameras located around its head, continually capturing photos of the surrounding environment. And that data, with the help of an AI generator, is what is used to create the prints that they excrete. Much like AI generated slop flooding the internet, these digital creations are voluminous. According to the New York Post, the robots will collectively produce more than 1,000 prints over the course of this exhibit. 256 of them will be NFTs that can be listed on cryptocurrency marketplaces. Each image is labeled excrement sample. Unlike any actual dog sample, they say these will rack up monetary value over time. And no two photos are alike. The piles of prints each have an aesthetic that reflect the personality of the human head attached to the dog. The Picasso images appear geometric. Zuckerberg's look like a clip from a low-budget Matrix knockoff, apparently. Yeah. It's just weird. Weird art. Beyond disturbing. So, the artist goes by Beeple. His name is Mike Winkelmann. He's best known for his weird NFT images created at the onset of the pandemic. One of them sold for almost $70 million at a Christie's auction, the first ever NFT auction. But he said the point of this RoboDog project is to draw attention to how more and more of the observable world consists of benign design created to fulfill the vision of a select few techno billionaires. And he said that is in contrast with past eras when artists played a greater role in shaping our reality. Here's this quote. It says, "It used to be that we saw the world interpreted through the eyes of artists. But now Mark Zuckerberg and Elon in particular control a huge amount of how we see the world. We see the world through their eyes because they control these very powerful algorithms that decide what we see." People call this art exhibition terrifying, absurd, and beyond disturbing. Yeah. All of the robots on display have already sold for $100,000 each. We don't know who the owners are, although maybe we can guess. But yeah, so you could sell some of the art that's excreted out, and they've already sold the robot dogs. So there you go. Thank you. I think it might have been D who tagged me on that. I appreciate it, although super creeped out by it as well. I have a Lotto of the Day story for you, and I know I'm pushing it with the time, so thank you for hanging in with me. But I do want to talk about this Lotto of the Day story because it was a birthday gift from one man to himself, and that's nice. You know, sometimes if people aren't going to take care of you, you got to do it yourself. This South Carolina man decided on his birthday that he was going to buy a scratch-off lottery ticket. He's from Myrtle Beach, and he was out with a friend the day after his birthday and decided to treat himself to a scratch-off ticket over at the Murphy's Express in Myrtle Beach. And he gave the ticket to his friend to scratch as he had to pull his vehicle over when the friend started laughing. He said the $10 My Moneymaker ticket turned out to be a $500,000 winner. That's a nice birthday present. The belated birthday winner says he's still thinking about what he's going to do with the prize money, but he did say that he has more opportunities now. So that's good. There is a new Robo Cop statue that has been installed in the fine city of Detroit. They've been waiting for this one for about 15 years. It's been a long time coming. And finally, the Robo Cop statue is up. It is an 11-foot tall bronze Robo Cop statue. And I have to say, it really, it really makes the point, drives the point home. I have a picture of this 11-foot tall RoboCop statue to show you. It's kind of cool. There it is. Take a look at that. There he is. Doesn't look quite as tall without someone standing next to it. It's hard to see, the size. But this is kind of a cool story. It's in the Eastern Market. It has been a lot of back and forth of planning with this statue. It weighs 2.5 tons, and it has RoboCop, as portrayed by actor Peter Weller in the film from 1987. It's outside the Free Age production studio in Detroit's Eastern Market. The owner of Free Age Productions says, "I love it. It looks great. It's super impressive. It has already brought a lot of nice people around." They started planning for this sculpture in 2011. The then mayor of Detroit responded to a tweet suggesting the city put up a statue of RoboCop. And the mayor then said there were no plans to do that. But then they got into this back and forth, which led to this campaign to make this thing a reality. And finally, they did it. They launched a Kickstarter campaign. They raised more than $67,000 to get this thing done. It was created by a Detroit sculptor named Giorgio Gekas. It was completed in 2017. And then there was a bunch of legal clearance hurdles that made it take a long time to get this thing into place. Apparently, there were some delays, including legal clearance from MGM. They hold the right to that character. So now that the statue is in place, there are big plans for an official welcome ceremony. They want to get Peter Weller down there to welcome the statue. But there it is in Detroit. We've got RoboCop hanging out there. I don't know if you saw this. I think this story was sent to me by teacher Lori, and my apologies if I'm getting that wrong, but because I failed to write it down. My bad. And I'm sorry about that, because I so appreciate all of the stories that you send my way. But this one is about, and I just love it. It comes with this kind of moving picture. You call that a GIF? And what you're looking at here is the pulsing life force of glaciers, of all things. California scientists discovered that ice masses are alive with activity. If this isn't the craziest thing, who would have thought? You think it's just a bunch of ice and snow. Apparently, it looks more like an aortic artery pumping blood from the heart, or a connection of capillaries in the body. But this was captured via satellite. It's part of a study done by NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab, and it reveals the Earth's glaciers are actually alive with activity, and they display this pulsating movement throughout the year. Research done at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab in Southern California by Chad Green and Alex Gardner, and published in SF Gate, shows this research shining a light on how hundreds of thousands of glaciers might respond to global warming in the coming decades. The researchers said glaciers are like rivers of ice that flow down mountains toward the sea. When warm air meets the upper surface of a glacier, all of that meltwater can make its way down the base of the ice and act like a lubricant, causing this glacier to speed up. Though they look still on the surface, millions of optical and radar image satellites collected between 2014 and 2022 reveal that the rate of each glacier's flow depends on the season and geographic location. So if they were in Arctic regions, they typically reach top speeds during the summer or early fall. If they're in Alaska, they accelerate most during the spring. Overall, they said, the Earth has more than 200,000 of these ice masses, and by tracking the motion of crevasses and surface debris, they were able to determine these unique fingerprints. They're hoping these findings will contribute to forecasting glacier behavior affecting global sea level rise, ecosystem health, ocean circulation, freshwater resources, hazard exposure, all kinds of things, right? They say it reveals that glacier flow accelerates with every degree of warming, and it's helping them understand how they'll likely respond to climate change in the years to come. So isn't that cool? Like that pulsing picture just gets me. All right. Well, I'll send you off onto the weekend with this picture of a baby turtle. There you go. So we can feel happy as we head off on the weekend. Again, thanks to Ms. Organic for sending those pictures in. I hope you have the best weekend ever. Stay cool or stay cozy, I should say, and enjoy the weekend and watch Heat and all the other movies Tim recommended. And I will see you right back here on Monday on the Mark Thompson Show. But between now and then, make it a very, very good weekend. Want to thank everyone for clicking the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button. If you know someone you can ask to subscribe, great. Please do that as well. Thank you to Ms. Organic, to Yvonne, for sending in their pictures, and Tammy for sending in her moon pictures. Appreciate that. And thank you to Teacher Lori for the stories. Always really appreciate that. Do want to thank people for contributing in a monetary way to this show as well. Most of the contributions come through the show's PayPal page, which you can find at the bottom of every show description here. Wes throwing in 5 today. Deborah S., another one from Wes. Carol S., thank you so much for that. And I thought, perhaps I am wrong, but I thought I saw a contribution. Here it is. Yes. From Tammy, who throws in 10. Willow Armadillo sends her holiday greetings to the Tapple community and Ms. Kim. Thank you, Tammy. Much appreciated. Thank you for the nice message and the contribution as well. And again, thank you to everyone for supporting this show. And until we meet again, bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Well, I guess they won't be getting him over at the statue ceremony then, huh? Zero Sum says Peter Weller passed away. My apologies. Although that is what it said in the article. Great, he's alive, back from the dead. Woohoo! He might make it to the ceremony after. Now he's dead again? Holy moly.